इतना कभी हमने इम्पोर्टेंट फील किया है इंडियंस यार, इतना अमेरिका हमारे ऊपर ध्यान दे रहा है और आज भी हमारे बारे में बात कर रहा है यार, इतना तो हमने कभी अपनी लाइफ में इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं फील किया, इतना तो हमको हमारे खुद के लोगों ने अटेंशन नहीं दिया।
It's too much for us, right? बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है, मतलब बहुत इतना प्यार मत दो यार. But what's his standing? This guy went to jail for Trump for not, putting him under the bus, or probably speaking the truth rather than throwing him under the bus. But it also shows lack of sensitivity, lack of knowledge about India. I mean, you talk about Brahmins, exploiting the whole of India and things like that, and then all kinds of things that he has said, and no, it does not even add up. If I put out a whole tweet thread on the oil exports from India, imports as well as exports from India. It hasn't changed. If you look at a percentage of our exports, right, in 2018-19, we were exporting about 15% of our total exports was oil. It's about that much even today, right? Probably there was a spike last year or a year before that to about 18 or 20%, but it's still 15%. And the 18 to 20% would probably be because our other merchandise exports went down for whatever reasons. But still, it is still at that 15% of our total exports. So there's nothing dramatic. Reliance, for instance, which is the world's largest refinery, well, it was built for exports. They are going to export, and they're going to source oil from anywhere it's cheap. That just makes business sense. You're going to import or probably buy oil or any commodity from anybody who gives you the best value for money. And in this case, it's just about pricing. So, all that has not changed. The fun fact is $15 billion, I think so. But $10-15 billion has gone to Western countries. Netherlands, Netherlands has now become the third largest trading partner for India. From 20th or 11th position or 20th position, something like that. I tweeted that out. I forget now. But it's now the third largest. And that's because our oil exports to Netherlands have gone up. And from there, it's not that Netherlands is consuming everything. It's just that the port the Netherlands port is getting used for discharge. And from there, it is branching out and going to all other consumers. It can be France, Germany. I don't know where it is going. But it's getting consumed by EU. And EU is also, as we speak, is the largest consumer of Russian gas. It has not stopped. And so it makes no sense. But so that's why, we have just added everything. And now there are reports that it is all personal. It's Trump who wants his Nobel, who wants that acknowledgement, insert himself in India-Pakistan relations. And since that didn't happen, the relations have been, we don't even know if we've hit the bottom, right? The relations are going down. We don't know if the floor has been found yet. We don't know. Because even today, this morning, Trump came out with a statement. But it was a bit softer. He talked about tariffs. He went back to his pet Harley-Davidson, India, tariffs the hell out of him. That's the reason why Harley is not able to export to India. Then Harley set up a factory in India because it wanted to beat the tariffs. Nobody told him that Harley quit India in 2020, 5 years ago, because he could not do business in India. So even if the tariffs are zero on Harley, it's not as if they're going to sell a million vehicles over here, because the market does not exist. But who's going to tell him?
That's a very important point, this whole Harley Davidson thing. And I remember talking to Kushal Mitra and Kushal telling me, अबे कोई खरीदने नहीं वाला है ये घटिया बाइक उसकी, उसको लाने दे लाना है।
घटिया हो या ना हो, but चॉइस तो कंज्यूमर पे है ना यार। मतलब आपके पास बाइक है, लोग जाएंगे, यहाँ पे यार रॉयल एनफील्ड बिक रही है, ट्रायम्फ बिक रहा है, पता नहीं कौन से ब्रांड है सब, like we see all that, people are going. Now you come up with your product, you market it, and if it's not finding takers, then the problem is with you. Even if they were manufacturing in India, they didn't find takers. So even if there is zero duty, and I have no problem with India doing away tariffs. I'm for it. When Trump started saying that, we're going to put some we're going to announce, when he announced those reciprocal tariffs, I was like, यार ये ठीक है यार, मतलब इससे इंडिया का भला हो जाए, पूरे tariffs हट जाए यहाँ से, we will become open to trade, it'll be good for us. But obviously things have gone worse, much worse since then. But and we have still not opened up, and we are doing far worse things in the non-tariff sector. I mean, I am in the trade. I know they come up with all kinds of quality control orders and things like that, which is not good for us. We are also as protectionist as Trump is trying to be now. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt that Trump is telling the truth when he says that India is a high tariff nation. Yes, we have reduced tariffs on a lot of commodities, but yeah, we do tariff high. I mean, आज ही देख लो GST पे लगाएंगे ये लोग लग्जरी के ऊपर 40%. What the hell, man? I mean, छोड़ो यार, लोगों को लेने दो यार, क्यों 40% लगाओगे उसके ऊपर? उसको भी कर दो 18 जैसे सब होगा. But we have this problem with luxury and things like that. Luxury, मतलब बाइक को लग्जरी में रखा था अब तक 28% plus something. So the mindset in India is still of that control, what Indians can buy and cannot buy, and they will define what is a sin good, what is a luxury good. So, so there is no doubt that we need to reform. Probably this is a great opportunity for us to reform. All said and done, at the end of it, I mean, we should still thank Trump कि आपकी वजह से reform हो जाए तो अच्छा है. Not only that, we'll go and sign some more, free trade agreements. Although we are working on it with a number of companies, we'll probably speed it up. Especially with the EU, which is required. I think we need to speed that up. UK के साथ हो गया, but although now the ball lies in the in UK's court to ratify it and implement it, but it is required for our own good.
Yeah, I think as far as Trump is concerned, I was in the same boat when Trump had started. I was completely in support of Donald Trump. I thought his entire point about India having very high tariffs is actually real, and there was a lot of truth to what Donald Trump was saying at that point of time. But then it has veered into some absurd areas. I'm sorry, India is not going to open its dairy sector up. I'm sorry, India cannot open some of its critical agricultural sectors. And with what face is the United States?
I will contest that.
No, but if America is going to subsidize its own agriculture and then say you cannot...
Dairy में, look, dairy में हो सकता है, boss. Dairy में हो सकता है. I mean, look, are they going to sell milk at $40 in India? A liter? Will they sell butter at some 200 rupees for 500 grams? Amul se sasta, Nandini se sasta. How are they going to come up with the entire distribution network that exists in India with these brands like Amul and Nandini? Nandini is very big over here. What about the brand loyalties? यार मतलब अभी वो you probably recall अमूल और नंदिनी के बीच में क्या हो गया, मतलब लोग मतलब कैसे मतलब हो गया था कि यार अमूल को कैसे कर्नाटका में अलाउ करोगे and things like that. I mean, यहाँ पे ऐसा हो रहा है. How are they going to penetrate Indian market? I mean, even so, are they going to come up with cheap things, which cost $200? They're not. They're going to come up with some exotic
cheese. Then he'll force us to buy them because
some good butter.
He's the biggest leader of the world. That's what he's going to do.
Who?
Yeah, then Trump will say, you will have to buy this much liter of milk, otherwise I'll tariff you. Where does it stop? You cannot talk to a bully by giving in to him.
No, I mean, it's not India that is going to buy, right? The government does not buy milk. It's the consumer is going to buy milk. They have to come and set up shop and then sell it. If the consumer buys, well and good. If the consumer buys milk at 100 rupees a liter, good for you. I mean, leave it to that. The Indian government should welcome that, right? If the consumer is buying milk which is 100 rupees, fine. If they're buying butter which is 1,000 rupees a kilo, go ahead, be my guest. They're not going to, wipe out Indian dairy at those prices. I mean, so we have to be a bit pragmatic. Even with our, deal with UK, with Australia, we kept dairy out. If they come and if they offer us something more in return for us opening our dairy sector, say for instance, and we are able to get our industry getting further access into these markets, I think it would be good. We should take a bit of pragmatic view. I think it's more political. This dairy especially is political. You don't, it will not look right if the dairy is opened up. People will say that Modi has thrown farmers under the bus. It's not going to happen. I mean, look, again, work the math out. I mean, who's going to sell cheap stuff? I mean, is the US going to come from there, with all those logistics?
No, I don't agree with you. I think you're way off here.
And
because
cheap
in
stuff
America,
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I'll tell you why. Because they have a dairy margin coverage, something in the United States of America. They actually subsidize their dairy and agriculture in a big way. How do they expect India to remove tariffs on something they subsidize in their own country? Is America going to stop all subsidies to their dairy farmers and to their agriculturists? Are they going to do that?
So we can be innovative there as well. We are good at this, right? And we're extremely good at non-tariff barriers. so you look at it. You open up probably quotas. Also, you would say that there is a minimum import price. This is what we can allow. This is happening in my business. The government has put a minimum import price of 129 rupees, for instance, per kilo. All that is possible. I mean, all that can be negotiated. But over here, the point is not even trade. So right now, the issue with the US is not trade. It's Trump's ego and his quest for the Nobel. I mean, we could have negotiated a deal. I mean, even today, as we speak, even today, the Commerce Minister said that by November, we're going to have a deal. So we're still working on it. We are at it. But that is the trade part. What are we going to do about the ego part? What are we going to do to address the 25% sanctions, or a punitive sanctioned tariff for buying Russian oil? It's not about oil. We all know it now. But how are you going to solve that? And the answers to that are going to get very interesting even for the US. I think Trump has dug a bit of a hole for himself. Not a big. It's a major hole for the US. In fact, India standing up against this onslaught from the US administration at a time where Trump has alienated all its allies, right? I mean, Trump has forced deals on EU, on Japan, on South Korea, and India is now standing up. What does its message that goes out to all these middle powers who have succumbed so far? Even if there is an off ramp somewhere over here, it has gone out that India stood up. It stood up for its right, what it thought was right, and its own right to choose and stand by it. Something which Europeans have not done, something which the Japanese have not done, the South Koreans have not done. The funny thing is the India-US partnership, which was the one which would have made this enduring US primacy in the globe, now is flipped. The very same partnership is perhaps going to be a catalyst for the reduction of US power. I mean, it's all early days, but look at it that way, right? India has stood up, and this message will filter down to everybody. And you'll probably see, because of all these unequal deals which Trump has forced on his allies, they're going to unravel. Maybe not now, maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, or even when the next administration comes, right? They're going to renegotiate that this is not done. And when that happens, what is it going to say about the US ability to keep those deals, force it on its allies? So it's going to have these long-term consequences for the US. And that's why I feel that although it's entirely possible that there'll be a reset in India-US ties, but can the US afford now? I mean, so these are the things, right? If you look at it now, can the US afford to get an off-ramp, find some kind of a deal and say, okay, we are all good now? Because it has failed to make India bend.
Two, three things that are very important over here. Do you think even fundamentally there is an off-ramp possible? Because his latest truth social, वो इतनी बड़ी पोस्ट लिखता है, एक तो साला इतने लंबे पोस्ट लिखता है. तो his latest truth social post on before it's too late. Like, too late for what? Every single tariff that he claims India has removed, India removed before this 50% announcement. India officially, I know it for a fact through my sources, said कि भाई तेरे को तेरी berries बेचनी है इंडिया में बेच, हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Wheat में एक थोड़ा कोटा भी हम लोग ने चॉक आउट करके दे दिया था उसको. We already last year, because of Justin Trudeau and his tamasha, had shifted our pulses and lentils requirements strategically to Australia primarily. But we were also telling America कि भाई तुम्हारी 3 states ये जो products उगाती हैं हम वो भी तुमसे ले लेंगे. We are already in the process of doing things And you know this constant obsession कि they sell us so many things we are not able to sell. अभी क्या कच्चा खरीदूं अमेरिका से, वो भी मेड
अरे
इन
ऑयल
इंडिया
भूल गए
कच्चा
भाई,
अमेरिका से जाके खरीदूं.
अरे भाई ऑयल भूल गए आप. India has up oil purchase from the US. It's up 50% just this year.
Yeah. In fact, if he had any sense, right, he would tell us, भाई तुम अपना रशियन ऑयल परचेज और बढ़ाओ, ऑफसेट उसको सस्ते में खरीदते जाओ और थोड़ा बहुत ऑफसेट करो मेरा खरीद के और मेरा फायदा करो. If Donald Trump was such a good businessman, this is what he would tell us. He would be like, हम तुमको तेल देंगे, रशिया तुमको तेल देगा, तुम अपना सेटिंग करो, मस्त में जियो.
यार यार पर ये बिजनेस की बात है ही नहीं ना. So this is not about business anymore, right? Look, we know that there were at least two instances in the last 3 months. Probably the last of it was probably in July, when they said everything is done. It's a done deal. All Trump has to do is sign because it's done. Even the US negotiators were happy about it on two occasions. Right? On the first occasions, they went, probably Trump said, no, I don't like this, get something better. And something better did come. The US team was happy. India, and it's in the reports, right? I mean, that India went far beyond it has for any other country, including Australia, including UAE, all the other FTAs we have signed. We went that extra yard, and Trump rejected that. And the rejection happened only because we did not acknowledge or probably give him the pleasure of inserting himself in India-Pakistan ties. That was not going to happen. That was just not going to happen. He did not understand it, but he kept on at it. He just thought that he will manage his way through, and that was a failure on his part. And we can't even say it's the failure of his advisors, and that someone failed to advise him. Does he even listen to anybody? I mean, he has his fingers on his phone or his keyboard, and then he just goes and those big posts. I mean, even before Rubio got off the call with Jaishankar while the war was raging between India and Pakistan, this guy was ready with his post announcing the ceasefire. So I don't think he listens to anybody. So we can't even say he's not listening to his advisors. And who are his advisors? Navarro. Oh man. So we are in a huge mess right now. It's fair to say that the comprehensive global strategic partnership is not there right now. To get it back to that level, I don't know it's going to happen in the near future, because that will require a lot of political capital from the Indian leader. I don't think Modi is going to do that. Perhaps there will be a reset at some point in time. We will work because the US still remains, obviously, a very important, a critical economic partner for us. I mean, you can just leave the defense aside, but still, for me, the larger point is critical economic partner, because we need to develop. We want that 8 and 10% growth. We want the investments. We want the technology. We want the apples of the world to come and manufacture India and export to the world. We need them. So there are no Russian or Chinese substitute for all that, right? It's either the US or it's the EU. I mean, the German foreign minister was here in India. I just talked about 2,000 German companies in India and the further investments into India, and they see India positively in terms of future business. So these are our partners in terms of economics, and our economic development is still a link to them. But we need to probably the relation will not be this comprehensive global strategic partnership. We will be friends. Trust is not going to be there, but we'll be friends. We'll be pragmatic about our relations. This is what I think it will be, because ultimately we have to be pragmatic. We want to do business, and some of those big defense deals may not happen. I don't think there are going to be any political defense deals to strengthen defense ties. So you might see the striker deal which has been talked about. I don't think that's going to happen. We need, say, jet engines, so we are going to buy the jet engines. If there's any such things which we want and we ask, and if the US is ready to sell based on our requirements, absolute requirements, I'm sure we will buy. But we're not going to have any strategic deals. So I don't think the F-35s, which Trump was offering in February, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that was going to be a bad deal anyway, as far as as far as I'm concerned, because we should put our money into AMCA. But the F-35s, even if India had any inkling, any kind of a thing that, we may consider the F-35, I think that's out of the picture. There is no strategic deal that's going to happen now. Worst that could happen is it pisses off Trump even further, and next escalation could be sanctions, not just tariffs. 25% is already there. Now we move into something actually sinks India-US ties even further, which would be sanctions. He's already talked about, his disappointment with Putin today, this morning. I think he's spoken about that, and he's going to do something about it, and further sanctions on Russian, economy. And we don't know what he would do next. And he would say, just for India supporting Russia, we are going to sanction India. And if that reaches, say, ongoing defense projects, then we're back into 71.
What are the possible off-ramps here? As far as I can see, there is no off-ramp, because it's literally come down to the ego of one megalomaniac. And I think for 3 years, everything is going to go to the back burner. Either Trump has to clamp down, and that never happens with a man with as big as an ego as Mr. Donald Trump does. Okay, that's not there. Notice the Indian side. We've not responded by any nasty message.
Yeah.
Navarro has been so cheap, so nasty. Like, did you see Navarro retweeting that we should tariff outsourcing of IT sector jobs? भाई, ये लोगों को ये भी नहीं मालूम है कि वो होता कैसे है. वो लोग इतने नालायक हैं. और मैं तो सच्ची बोलूं, I want that to happen, because एक झटके में कैलिफोर्निया खत्म हो जाएगा.
सर्विस यहाँ पे, when they look at the balance of trade, if you look services, we are even. If you look at services, India's goods and services exports to the US is equal to US goods and services exports to India.
Yeah,
equal है भाई.
मैं तो चाहता हूं H1B प्रोग्राम वर्कर का खत्म कर दें ये लोग. मैं तो चाहता
हूं
ये तो
होने वाला है.
अरे मैं चाहता हूं मैं ये थोड़े कॉन्फिडेंस से बोल रहा हूं कि द एंटायर टेक इंडस्ट्री इज शिटिंग ब्रिक्स हियर, बिकॉज अगर ये H1B खत्म हुआ तो ये एन मास ये सारी कंपनियां, और ट्रम्प कितने भी टैक्स लगा दे उनके ऊपर, वो नहीं रुकेंगी उधर. वो नहीं रुकने वाली है उधर. वो सारी इंडिया आ जाएंगी. जितनी है वो इंडिया आएंगी. और देखो, मानो या ना मानो, ठीक है, हमारे यहाँ पे अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की कमी है, कुछ भी. देखो, इंडिया में है 140 करोड़ लोग, तो चमन से लेकर जीनियस हर किस्म का वैरायटी मिलती है इंडिया में. है तो 140 करोड़ लोगों का देश. तो समझ ले, अगर 140 करोड़ के लोगों के 10% भी जीनियस होंगे, अच्छे क्वालिटी का ह्यूमन कैपिटल, ओ भाई, वो 14 करोड़ लोग है ना. 14 करोड़ है वो. तो लोग ये क्यों नहीं समझते कि समवेयर डाउन द लाइन, अभी तू अगर ये पूरे एपिसोड को देखेगा ना, तो अभी जैसे मेगन केली और बेन शपीरो की भी डिस्कशन होती थी, अभी तो इनके मेन स्ट्रीम पॉडकास्टर भी ये डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि भाई ये हो क्या रहा है.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, they see, everybody other than Trump and his toadies, right? Trump and his toadies are Charlie Kirk, Navarro, and all these toadies that he has. Other than his toadies, everybody gets that this is a problem. And how can anyone in their right mind think that a country like India will behave like, let's say, Canada, Europe? Bhai, we are not vassals of America. Let's get real. I live in Canada half of the year. Canada is an American vassal. It's a country till America has decided it has to be a country. और क्या बोलूं मैं?
तो पूरा स्टेट बना ले.
अरे वो लोग नहीं ले रहे हैं क्योंकि ज्यादा डेमोक्रेट वोटर आ जाएंगे. कैनेडियंस बहुत लेफ्टी है. ट्रम्प का नुकसान हो जाएगा उसमें. सारे भर के लेफ्टी आ जाएंगे उसमें. और दूसरा, क्वेबेक को कौन झेलेगा? क्वेबेक एक अपना पीस है. वो अपनी मस्ती में चूर रहता है. बोलता है यहां से मेरे को पाइपलाइन लेके जाने का. क्वेबेक बोलता है नहीं पाइपलाइन नहीं लेके जाने दूंगा. कनाडा बोलता है अरे हम लोग क्या. और हर जगह, see, you go to any Canadian event, right, by and large, other than a few events I have been to, सबसे पहले they start with a land acknowledgement. This land belongs to this tribe. वो लोग उसी में घूमते रहते हैं. वो लोग एक अपनी, देख, मैं बोला ना, कनाडा एक कड़ी निंदा देश है, वो सबकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं.